yet.
Okay.
Now we are.
Are we?
Now we are?
Yep.
Oh, that's fine.
I did. Are you sure? I don't see it.
I see it.
I don't believe you
Yeah.
at all. All right. Welcome, everyone, to Cabin Fever Comedy, the only comedy show where we start every single episode spending the first 20 seconds wondering if we're actually live. We're not idiots. I mean, we're a little bit, but we also have to keep waiting to see if it comes on.
We might not be live, guys.
Are we serious? Okay.
Tara's trying to log out.
No, we are.
We're going to keep talking if we're live. If we're not, you guys will come in part way. It should be just fine. Thank you all for watching. I am joined by all of our wonderful comics, as well as my two co-producers here, Nash Flynn and Michael Martin. How are you guys doing?
Every day is a dream. And by dream,
I'm currently quarantining.
I do not understand how by forced show you guys don't get this is upbeat, positive.
Oh, right.
Rallying the audience here.
I haven't left my house in 2 months. I'm so lonely.
You're doing that's great. Is exactly the energy we're looking for. Thank you so much, Michael. Just pure rage at the camera.
I've only seen my wife and my cats.
They're beautiful. They're nice cats. So clearly, Michael's been doing great without purchase. I'm getting some feedback. Are you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing great.
A little bit. Got it. No, thank you for the support. Okay, Michael, in with a quick fun. So we were talking before this about quarantine purchases and just the terrible decisions this brings about. I, for example, have a green screen in my living room now, and it felt like a really good decision until I realized, like, you should learn how to use that first.
What did that cost you?
Some video editing skills. It was there. It was on sale. I've got lighting equipment. This is the brightest I've ever been. Look, you can see some, glare. That's what I haven't figured out, but it's there.
How much did that cost you?
I mean, it's fine. I got a stimulus check to last month.
You're gonna write it off? You should write it off.
Yeah, this is work. This is important. So, how about you guys? How have the quarantine purchases been?
I spent $30 a few weeks ago on beef jerky and grape jelly from Amazon.
Were those, like,
same day?
That was 12 full sticks of teriyaki jerky for $20. And jelly for like $8 because it was natural, and I really wanted natural jelly.
To go with the beef jerky, or were these unrelated purchases?
Separate meals. All right, jerky for breakfast and the jelly for dinner.
That's almost better.
Yeah, I'm not crazy.
You're right. All right, Nash, how about you? What's the stupidest thing you bought so far?
Well, I started buying normal things like a bread machine because I wasn't gonna make bread. Why
is it the only thing people are making?
Yeah.
I mean,
but then a couple of days ago, I bought a 6-foot cardboard cutout of Richard Madden. So.
Why?
Is he that tall?
He's that tall. Yes.
He is that tall.
Okay. As long as it's accurate, that's the important part.
I've been making my own almonds, but that's not really going very well.
Well, I bought him for a friend who's quarantined alone. So they don't make him in the blow-up doll version. You just have to imagine.
Great.
They make John Madden in the blow-up doll version.
Yeah.
That's horrifying. Oh, this is perfect. I am so glad we're starting with this horrific imagery.
Yeah, it's really big.
I think we have enough people now. Let's roll right into the show. Then I think we've lost the feedback too. Beautiful. So no, there's feedback again. That's me. Okay, let me welcome our first comic. He's a good friend of mine. He's a Chicago comic. He is also a producer of Don't Tell Comedy, which you can currently see their trivia and their shows kind of on and off, but keep an eye out because they're absolutely worth watching. Please help me welcome Jon Torres.
What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. This is weird. I feel like I'm yelling at robots instead of normal faces, but we're going to get through this one together because I got some stuff that I got to complain about, and you all are tuned in, so I got to complain about some stuff. I think my neighborhood is not taking the quarantine well. I live in a predominantly Latino neighborhood in Chicago called Humboldt Park. Got famous last year because somebody let out an alligator in the lagoon. So those are the type of people that I live around, and it's great. I love it. It definitely helps me get back into my Latino roots because I'm half Latino. But man, going to the grocery store, people are not quarantine panic buying the same way that I think white neighborhoods are, because I walked into the little supermercado across the street from me on North Avenue, and when I walked in, the idea of panic buying, there was just a guy that had a cart full of avocados and tortillas. That's it. Just avocados and tortillas. And when I saw that, I was like, that guy's got a plan. That guy knows something that I don't know. And I want to figure it out. And I found out why, because Milagro, the best tortillas in Chicago, they had to shut down their manufacturing plant because of coronavirus and stuff. And let me tell you, all the other tortillas that are available to us suck. They're subpar. So I think that guy is either making the best out of a bad situation or he's just eating himself to death. So I really gotta give it up to him. And one of the other reasons why I don't think my neighborhood is taking quarantine well, I don't know if you guys mess around with the Nextdoor app, but the Nextdoor app is my new favorite toy to play with, because I think it's the ballsiest place you could talk shit to people because they live right around the corner from you. It's one of my favorite things. Like, people will post other stuff about people complaining about their neighbors, and they're like, why don't you just come knock on my door and do something about it? And then I am stuck on my phone until the rest of the night's over, and it's things to do. Found out somebody that was talking shit on the Nextdoor app got jumped at the laundromat, and I was like, that's what you get for talking shit, man. You shouldn't have said anything. Shouldn't have said something. But being away from people has made me not miss people, as bad as that sounds, because people are just awful as far as the way they act in public. Like, I want white person that's jogging confidence. I want that shit where you can just run across the street without even looking, like you know the cars are gonna stop. I want that confidence in my life. I need it, because I'm not a confident person. I cower away from stuff all the time. But thinking about, man, this is weird. just thinking about stuff where, like, why I don't miss people. I was thinking about when I was hosting Don't Tell and we had live comedy shows. There was a lady that got so drunk in the front row of our show. It was the only time I've ever had to kick anybody out of a show. I'm going to tell you why. Don't Tell, it's a BYOB show, so we don't know how much people have had to drink before or during or after. So she got so drunk, she was talking through like most of the show. Then she takes out her phone and just starts answering texts and phone calls in the front row. And I'm like, all right, this lady's going to be a problem. And during the show, she decided to walk on stage to help with the show. So I had to like Frankenstein walk her back to her seat like a drunk friend. And I sit her back down, and she takes out her phone again. And this is where I knew something was going on, because you ever see somebody get text messages, like they're like this, and they just go, Who the fuck does that in public or at any time in their life? So she puts her phone down, she takes off her shoes, takes off her socks, and starts picking her feet in the front row of the show. Then she takes out her phone again, texts somebody, spreads her toes, and starts taking pictures of her feet in the front row of the show.
No.
And I had to say something. I was like, are you making feet pick money on my time right now? She's probably making a lot of money in quarantine, taking pictures of feet, hands, God knows what other parts of her body, but that's fine. And it's the only time I ever had to kick somebody out of a show. And it was very, very off-putting.
Jesus.
I think, like, I don't know how you guys have been writing or doing stuff, but I've just been starting to think back on all the weird comedy. Comedy is such a weird thing because we just volunteer to do shows anywhere. If you have a stage and like they'll give you time, we'll take it 100%. We're like always looking for the worst deal that we'll buy it every time. I once did a show at a nudist colony for a group of nudists. And this is how bad I wanted stage time. They're like, you have to be naked too. I was like, I get 15 minutes. I'll fucking take that. Yeah, I'll do it. And let me tell you guys something about nudists. It was one of my favorite shows. It was one of the most attentive audiences that I've ever been at. But a nudist colony is not the type of place that you're thinking of. When you think of a nudist colony, you're thinking like, oh, there's like some beautiful garden with a fountain and all this other stuff. No, it was just a bookstore with construction paper on the windows. And the heat was turned all the way up. So it's like you walk into a hot room and you're like, oh, it's sticky. I could feel all the people in here. And I was hit with a wave of like heat and smells that I never smelled before. I was like, all right, interesting texture. This is going to be different.
Oh,
and they bring me into the backstage area, which for some reason this bookstore had a kitchen, which is why I love Chicago. Old businesses are just old businesses that used to be something else. Like there's a place in Chicago that is a fish store, but on the sign it says, we cut keys because we can't get the key machine out. That's one of my favorite places in Chicago. But to go back to the nudist story, it was not what I expected. Like there was a full buffet, and it kind of bummed me out because I was like, I don't like that all this food is dick height. I don't like that. It made me real nervous. And so they're in the back, like we're in the backstage area, and they're like, oh, you can just get naked whenever you want. And I was like, might as well do it. And there was an improv team going after us.
Oh,
so
no.
after we had done all of our sets, this improv team was warming up. I've never seen somebody do naked push-ups before, but I just saw a dick just hitting a dusty floor, just up and down. And it kind of bugged me. But one of the weirdest things about it was they're very consensual with like the nudity, because I had to use the bathroom and the door on the bathroom didn't lock. So as I was using the bathroom, somebody barged in and goes, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, dude, what else is there to see? You've seen everything. But that's pretty much been my thoughts on quarantine and starting to miss people that I didn't used to miss. But this has been a lot of fun, and thanks for letting me ramble in your guys' electronic ears.
Yay.
Jon Torres.
Thanks for that. You made me think of the worst combo ever: naked improv.
Oh God.
I had finished a show at IO, and I was saying with some comics afterwards, and one of them was complaining about how hungry he was, and he kept saying, no, I don't want to eat here. It's the food is made by improvisers. First of all, I don't think that's how it works, but okay. And this is a club down the street, and he says, oh yeah, we got a buffet there.
Oh.
It's fine if the strippers perform it, just not improv, people. All right. Thank you very much, Jon. Oh, I forgot to mention too, please, we've got a free show here, which we're so happy to do. If you can make any donation, dropping the link in the chat right now on the YouTube page for Comedy Gives Back. Obviously, a lot of comics make their money just from these stand-up shows. So this helps out with comedians' medical bills, or anyone any comedian who's struggling at the moment. So if you can donate anything, please do. Links in the chat. It would help everyone out. Our next comic is in LA, and I am such a big fan of theirs. You can follow them at Sarah Mowrey on Twitter, and also the podcast, Them's the Rules. So please give it up for Sarah Mowrey.
Hello. This is my first time doing a Zoom show. This makes me feel like what it was like when I had internet friends in high school instead of any real friends. So that. Right. Let's tell each other our deepest, darkest secrets and then never meet. What Jon was saying about different supermarkets being different parts of town is very, very correct. Like at the beginning, I live in a Latino neighborhood as well. I mean, I guess like all of LA is a Latino neighborhood actually, but yeah. And first week, all the beans and rice were gone, every tortilla gone, everything. But then today I was at like, I was like a grocery store that wasn't a Vallarta or whatever, and there was just like a white dude with like 10 things of Tide in his cart, like big jugs of Tide. And I was like, wow, yeah, white people, we are dirty and disgusting. I've definitely been I feel like we're all having like a collective grief, you know, a lot of us are having different stages of it, depression, whatever, denial, whatever. I'm definitely in the bargaining stage because I've been thinking about what I would do that I hate doing if we could just get out of this. And here are a couple of examples. Right off the bat, I would apologize to this bass player I fucked in Chicago. His name is Ben. I scraped his dick with my teeth while giving him a blowjob. and then I stole a pair of pajama pants and a t-shirt, an Elton John / Billy Joel tour t-shirt. So I would just apologize to him. Really, I would do that to make this be over. I would go up last at a 2 a.m. mic after a dude who was just saying racial slurs and rape jokes. I would have a man explain Fight Club to me every day for a month. Yeah. And then on the other hand, I would like to explain to a man, a different man for a month why Louis C.K. is bad. So these are all the things I'm willing to give up. Before quarantine, I had like depression issues and mental health issues. I was diagnosed with what we call bibbidi boppity bipolar disorder, and it goes. This is weird. I have to do an accent now. This is weird. It goes a little something like this. It's like, hey, I'm walking here down to the pharmacy to get my meds so I don't betray everyone I've ever loved over here. It's like, hey, this pepperoni pizza's got too many pepperonis, but the dough won't rise because it's too sad. You guys understand what bipolar disorder means now? Are we all on the same page? It's a very easy breezy disease, you guys. Like it happens if you hit your head too hard at the Bing Bong factory. Like that's what we're working with. Like that's what I'm dealing with. It's a lot of like not sleeping and playing Animal Crossing. It's a lot of should I send a message to that person who hates me? It's fine. I love a lot of people don't understand what bipolar disorder really is, and I feel like we now as a culture really know what depression is, and that is, if you don't know it, that it's it makes you depression makes you want to kill yourself, but it takes away the motivation to do so. And mania is a little bit different. It's like hanging out with your friend Ashley, who's never had a good idea in her entire life. She'll like come into town and she'll be like, hey girl, let's smoke a pack of cigarettes and immediately run a marathon and then drink a bag of tequila. And you're like, I've never run a day in my life. Ever. Also, that's not how tequila's sold, like commercially. That's not how it works. She's like the kind of chick who like tries to get into a nightclub without her ID while missing crucial teeth. Like that's just who she is. It's like no. So that's what mania is like. I had another thing about quarantine. I go on a lot of walks now. I'm like horny for walks now. I love walks. I walked from North Hollywood to Burbank like 5 days a week. It's very boring walk, but I love it. And I feel like as women, we have trained ourselves to get out of the way of anybody who passes us on the street, but men have never had to do that. Like they'll just cough directly on you. Like this is how men are acting on the street in Los Angeles, California, Hollywood, LA. That's just how I think men are dealing with it. How am I doing on time? I didn't end up timing myself. I got a couple minutes. Okay. Yeah. Well, let me tell you, here's my dissertation. I love my dad. Like I love my dad. I love my dad now. He used to be a very yelling man, a very angry man. And then a few years ago, he hit his head and now he's chill. Actually happened. So I was thinking maybe we could just like like there are a lot of men who don't know what they're doing now, a lot of angry men. What if we just like rounded a bunch of straight white men up? We go to a Chuck E. Cheese, we put them in a whack-a-mole machine, and then we just go to town. Like boink, boink, boink. This is our time. Like maybe just solve a problem, you know? I leave a little bit out about what happened to my dad in that story. Basically, he's on blood thinners. He hit his head, blood pooled to his brain. So they had to crack him open like an egg and get that blood out of there. And then he went back to work too fast and then had a straight up mental breakdown and had to go to a psychiatric ward, the same psychiatric ward that I would later go to, which means that I'm a legacy, you guys. My dad is the big man on campus. He threw the best parties. Everybody switched meds. 2 people had heart attacks. They named a wing after him, you guys. And it was the puzzle shelf. Because he solved all of them. So the puzzle pieces were missing, which like seems like a metaphor that's slightly offensive for a psych ward. Anyway, thank you very much. I think that's it for me. I'm Sarah.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Oh, it was fantastic. Our next comic is a friend of mine. Is a fantastic Chicago comic that I'm always excited to see. You can follow him on Twitter at the Tok Moffat. Please give it up for Tok Moffat.
Yeah. Oh man, this is thank you for sharing and making me have control of what I only see myself right now, which is great. Reminds me of what the FBI sees at 2 a.m. when I'm watching Netflix. Yeah, I just got done watching Netflix a few minutes ago. I haven't really like written anything about the quarantine. I guess the best thing for me is that like a couple of my friends' weddings have been postponed, which is worked out well for me financially. I'm excited about that. Some of you guys would probably relate to me on this. Like I've like reached the point in my life where like a lot of like my best friends are getting married, you know, and they're doing this gross thing where they're calling their wives their best friend. I've never understood, because like no smart guy should ever tell their wives the things that they tell their best friends, right? Like, and I would never come inside of my best friend. It makes it really weird for him. I actually had this argument with my best friend. I was like, yo, I'm definitely your best friend because I've seen you in the worst possible times of your life. Times of your life that your wife would divorce you over, so I'm your best friend. And then he got me back and he was like, well, she gives me a blowjob 3 times a week. And I was like, yeah, she's definitely your best friend. I'm pretty passionate about this. Like, I don't believe, like, despite what people say, like, I don't believe in unconditional love, you know, because like everything in life is conditional. But like the reason why you're in a relationship is based on the condition that both of you guys get something out of it. Does that make sense? Like I feel like relationships are kind of like a job, right? Like you're gonna stop showing up once you stop getting paid. In fact, you're probably gonna start looking for a new job. Probably a younger job. Hopefully a darker job. This is a part of my stand-up where I give someone a high five. Anyway. My voice is weird on here, and that's okay. I'm trying to figure out like how I come across on this Zoom. You know, like I figure out like the vibe that I give off is like a Black Christian rapper. Amen. My friend Christina said I would make a really good my first Black boyfriend. Which is kind of true, right? Because I'm like an easy transition. Like a gateway drug to a thug. I'm sorry. One of my friends called me an Oreo cookie, right? Which I thought was like a compliment, you know, because I'm a sweet guy and I love threesomes. Right? What he meant was that I'm a white guy trapped inside a black guy's body, which is an insult. Right? It's a white guy inside of there. I would at least like to have the perks of being a white guy trapped inside a black guy's body, you know, like being able to go sailing, right? Getting frosted tips. And having a fair trial. At this point, I would give Abby a pound right there.
Coming at you.
And, I am trying. So one thing I'm trying to do, I'm trying to learn like a new skill. I'm trying to learn how to rap, like seriously, like how to rap with a beat. But the problem is that, like, I don't say the N-word like very much. Is probably because I have like a lot of like white friends, which is it's okay too. I have one of my best white friends. Like he wants to say the N-word like very badly. Like, and I give him like full permission. I don't care. But I got like the other day I got like really woke. And I was like Chadrick, like you can't use it. White people cannot use the word the N-word because like white people, like you guys have used up your quota, you know. You had it for the first 300 years. Black people have it for the next. And after that, we'll give it to the Cubans. It's only fair. I think white people saying the N-word is a lot like white people dancing. You should only do it in the comfort of your own home. I don't know where I'm at, but we'll just keep going. I think we should be wrapping up here shortly. But anyway, I'm a big fan of Netflix. Big fan of porn. Yeah. For those of you on here that probably do enjoy porn, is there anything more disappointing than orgasming during an uneventful part of a porn? Like you're getting close to finishing, and all of a sudden the camera pants the guy's shoes. And get off on these balance commercials. Actually, I was having some fun. I was watching girl on girl porn with one of my friends, and he was like, a woman can please another woman because she knows every single part of her body, right? So the same thing has to apply for guys. And I was like, I hope you're not trying to convince me of anything, but I agree with that logic. He's like, Tok, if you absolutely had to choose, would you go down on a guy or have a guy go down on you? And I was like, well, I hope we're best friends now.
All back.
As long as his beard doesn't scratch, I'd have him go down on me. And I asked him the same exact question. I was like, yo, Chadrick, if you absolutely had to choose, would you go down on a guy or have a guy go down on you? And he paused for a second. He goes, neither. And I was like, I didn't know you could answer that way. I would have chosen that. All right, guys, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man.
Oh, Chadrick was so good. I was for a sketch. I was Googling douchey frat boy names, and the first 4 results were variants of Chad. And the 5th one was, what's Chad's phone number? And then I remembered Chad's also a country. So I was like, who is this about? It's like, oh, okay. I'm fine. All right. Thank you very much, Tok Moffat.
Thank you.
Our next comic is a good friend of mine. I've actually been a fan of hers for years before I even met her. She has been on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, on Broad City, on Sam B. Please give it up for Abbi Crutchfield.
Thanks, everybody. Wow, it's really nice of people to watch on YouTube and comics. Thanks, guys, for having me. It's an honor to have a reason to wear pants tonight. You hope. You'll never know. I wanted to leave quarantine better than when I came into quarantine. So at the onset, I tried a bunch of crazy things. I tried going vegan. I thought about all the health benefits. I wanted to lower my risk of heart disease, but it increased my risk of suicide. So it got in the bud right away. I mean, I just did a deep dive into emotional eating, pizza and sweets essentially. But in that emotional eating, I came to the realization that like I entered quarantine basic. I'm gonna leave quarantine basic. Like my cooking has not improved. I mean, it's a solid 6 out of 10 where I can cook, but like I put too much rosemary on everything. So everything ends up tasting like roasted chicken. I don't know. Which is tasty unless it's waffles. And then my exercise routine, I'm still gonna do like the same half-hearted exercise that I did coming into this, which is like one Instagram video about how to build a better butt, and then skipping the next day because my butt's sore, and then skipping the day after that because I'm so proud of myself for working hard. Day 5, I'm like, I should do some yoga, and then I do an anxiety yoga, like something to relieve stress, and it's just laying on my back with my eyes closed. So I'm not gonna see a lot of changes coming out of this, but I'm okay with that. I think I have had time to improve what I've been watching, which is just watching what brings me joy. I like to watch old episodes of Chopped. It's a challenge, and I think that it's gonna help prepare me for when I enter into the real world. I'm gonna sound a little more pretentious. At least that's my hope. Like, it's confusing. They try to make it hard on purpose, you know. Chefs, in your baskets, you'll find capers, bubblegum, and cat hair. You have to make a masterpiece. It's like, what are they doing to those people? I know that I would be a horrible contestant on there. I'm bad even just sitting from home. I would be like, judges, I didn't know what the basket ingredients were. So what I prepared for you is a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But my hope is that when we do return to reality or the normal life that we all used to have, that I will go to brunch and sound more sophisticated. Because usually right now, like before quarantine, I would just like not attend brunch. 1, it's expensive. 2, it's intimidating. Like I want to get the upper hand. So what I would do is just put on workout clothes and lightly jog by people eating brunch outside. I have to establish dominance. But now I think I can fully go there, open a menu and be like, you know, the waiter will be like, do you have any questions about the menu? Like, yeah, I do. These dandelion greens, are they locally sourced? Sophisticated like that. And then they'll be like, yeah, yes, they are, ma'am. And I'll be like, well, then I don't want them because I walk my dog around here, sir. Would you like to recommend from the sidewalk? Okay. Only PP joke I have, I promise. I have had time to work on my writing. I want to write for TV. I've caught up on a ton of my favorite genre, which is mysteries solved by unsuspecting sleuths. You know, like nobody wants to see an actual detective solve a crime. You have to be an old lady, or you have to be a doctor, you know, like diagnosis murder, or you have to be a dog, like Scooby-Doo. They were just letting anybody solve mysteries. And so the one I am writing is about a murder that is committed. 30 minutes later, it is resolved by a jar of peanut butter. Someone will just open the cupboard, turn the jar around, and then the killer's name will be on the label. And they're like, I did it again, TV. It's called This Is Nuts. So So I have not, it's been nice to not spend money, but I was pretty much frugal living here. I live in Brooklyn. This is really cool to see everybody come out from all different places, but I'm in New York where we just have to be frugal. It's kind of like a way to be proud about it, you know, like different ways that we manifest. For me, I carry a decoy wallet full of newspaper, you know, just in case, protect my actual wallet full of coupons. And I love CVS extra care bucks is like money in the bank. Let's be real, guys. If you do not let those expire, that's cold hard cash. But what I really love is just Bed Bath & Beyond coupons because they're enormous and you can just take out 5 of them and fan yourself. I feel like, you know, it just feels luxurious. And I'll give them out to my friends for their birthday. I'll do it. And they'll be like 20% off a single item. Why not 20% off the whole purchase? I'm like, it's not Christmas. Calm down. But I'm encouraged by your laughter. You guys know what I'm talking about. I have just a phone book amount of Bed Bath & Beyond coupons that you'll never use because you can go there and forget it. And be like, oh, I don't have my, and they're like, oh, we just accepted it anyway. Like, all of mine are just like leveling out all my tables in my apartment right now. But it's nice to have, it's nice to feel like you have the ability. And if you never paid full price at Bed Bath & Beyond, your mailman hates you. I don't know what you did wrong. Everybody should have this. It's a rite of passage for, I guess, having a mailbox. But I like to catch up on old things that I used to do when I was a kid. That's been nice. Board games. I don't know if you guys have just taken the time to unplug and get really frustrated by a very stupid game, but I have. I love Clue. Clue, the wonderful game that teaches children about murder. I like Guess Who, the wonderful game that teaches children about racial profiling. I think that anybody that was good at that game now works for the TSA because it's just picking out what people's characteristics are. It's very strange. I don't know why that was ever okay. And it's uncomfortable to have to suss out your person. Like, does your guy look like a criminal? I was like, I don't want to answer that, Tiffany. I never got into, I'll leave you guys with this. I never got into Monopoly, the wonderful game that teaches children how to identify counterfeit money. I don't know. But it was a weird piece. It's a thimble. It's like kids don't know what a thimble is. I mean, the kids that do work in a sweatshop and they're not going to play. They don't have the time. I'm Abbi Crutchfield. Thanks so much, you guys. Have a great night.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Abbi Crutchfield. Also, can we appreciate the level of foresightedness that she has an apartment with an exposed brick wall? Just
Yeah. That was awesome.
I brought my background on Zoom.
Is it? Thank you very much, Abbi Crutchfield.
Thank you.
Amazing. Our next comic is so good. They're all so good. She has Future Role Models podcast and a comedy special that is coming out very soon. Please keep an eye open for it. I was supposed to get married today. Please give it up for Natasha Pearl Hansen.
Hi guys. So I'm here with my uncle. I'm steering a table right now to show you guys everybody. My uncle, his girlfriend Connie. There's my dad behind me. We are venturing out in Wisconsin. I've been quarantined with my family in Wisconsin for 2 months. I was on tour and everything shut down in New York while I was there. It was almost like the lights were turning off in Target like 15 minutes before they were supposed to. And you're like in an aisle and everything's turning black and you're like, wait a second. They said we had like 5 more minutes. I panicked, ran out of New York and stopped here and I just didn't leave. It's been interesting being locked up with my family for, 2 months. I've spent this amount of time with my family since I was, 12. I was really worried at first because every piece of tour was shut down. And of course, you're losing a lot of money as comics and performers. And then I looked at my bank account. Since I've been here, I've spent $4. I've saved $10,000 by not being in Los Angeles, living a normal life. I'm like, I can buy a fucking condo. I'm killing it. I've become really good friends with Amazon Alexa. I whisper a lot of things to Alexa throughout the day. mostly because my mom does all her shopping lists on it. So I like to add things to the shopping list that will shock my mom when she gets to the store. So recently I've been adding things like, hey, Alexa, add a Cabana Boy to the shopping list. Hey, Alexa. I put so much shit in there. My mom gets to the store, there's just bananas and like 80 things that I put on there after I've had 4 tequilas at the end of the night. By the way, right now I'm drinking Drunken Cherries that Connie here made, and they are delightful.
Cherry bombs.
In Wisconsin, they do it right. And Drunken Cherry was also my nickname in college. So the irony. My dad is sitting behind me, and you can see his shoulder. My dad and I had a really fun night. We've been playing cards every single night because what the fuck else is there to do? And we've been in this ongoing tournament where one of us is killing each other, and then, you know, vice versa. Every night we play cards, we put on 70s rock music. And we had, you know how there's songs you hear your entire life and you just kind of suss them out as normal and you sing along with them and you don't really analyze the lyrics. Well, right now we have all the time to analyze everything. So we're playing cards the other night and the song Scarborough Fair by Simon and Garfunkel comes on, and it's like, are you going to Scarborough Fair? Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. And my dad is singing it behind me. We both start crying, laughing, and we're like, parsley, sage, what the fuck is at this fair? What kind of hippie ass carnies work at this fair? When have you ever gone to a fair to buy anything that was green ever in your life? Anything that was healthy, anything that wasn't deep fried, like, I don't know. Things become so funny. Let's see, today I was jogging. I've been jogging every day. I've been running because also what else is there to do? And it was sunny here in Wisconsin. It's one of the first 75-degree days in a while. And this guy, this very overweight man in a truck, rolls down his window and starts hollering at me. And I'm like, I understand that I'm attractive, sir, but just because you've been in quarantine doesn't mean I want you to make me feel like you want to fuck me. That's not a feeling that feels good for me. I've been locked up too. And I want to see an attractive man want to fuck me. Not that. I don't want that. Sorry, this is my family behind me. They don't listen to me saying those kinds of my mom likes cake. Okay, she likes cake, but she doesn't want to act like she likes cake. So she keeps making cakes and trying to convince everybody else that she's making them for everybody, but nobody else wants to eat the fucking cake, right? So she makes a cake probably every 3 days and then gets mad at everybody when they don't eat the cake. The other day she came in the room and threw a fit, and she's like, why isn't anybody eating cake? There's only one piece of cake on. I'm like, is that one piece of cake the piece of cake you took? She's like, yeah, I only wanted one piece. I'm like, well, why do you keep making a whole cake? And she just screams, it's a cake. I can't make any less. And she throws the whole thing in the garbage.
Oh.
That's the kind of shit I'm dealing with, you guys. Monday through Friday, my dad and my mom are at work, which is great. They still have jobs. Thank God they have jobs. But my grandma has been retired since I was born. So she's home with me all day. And I love her. If anybody knows my comedy or has listened before, I tour with my grandma. I mean, I love her. She's one of my favorite people. But when you spend Monday through Friday with a person that you love that's elderly, that's a job. I mean, this has become hanging out with grandma during the day has become a full-time. I have to have coffee. I have to make her it's like and I have to listen to her. And I never knew that she complained so much. The irony here is that my grandma hates people who complain. She hates it. She hates it when people complain. She hates people who complain so much that all she does all day is complain about people who complain. She complains about people who complain so much that she's run out of people who complain to complain about. So now she started complaining about people who don't complain for having nothing to complain about. She's gonna complain herself to death. I mean, it's not COVID-19 that I'm worried about. It's the complaints, the overarching complaining. The bell curve of complaining is gonna take her out. I need to flatten that curve. I don't know what to do. Probably a face mask will help. My grandma also, and this is really fun about old people in particular, because it's a running joke for centuries that old people can't hear. And I've been observing something this entire time. Old people can hear, they can actually hear spectacularly well. My grandma listens to the TV on volume 2. She can hear it from across the house. I move a glass across a table 3 rooms over. She pauses the TV and she goes, "What's that?" She can hear everything that I do. But anything that I say to her, huh? And I'm like, I know you can hear me. I know you can hear me. And I figured it out. I figured it out because they know that their processor is slower and they have a limited amount of time of life left, right? So every that they ask you, it's saving them like hours of time on their life while adding hours of time to your life, having to repeat it. So what she's actually trying to do is make us die at the same time. It's like she's adding more time to her life and taking time off, and eventually we're just gonna hold hands like the Notebook and die. She's gonna hum me to death. How much time do I have left? I have no concept.
Yeah, another few minutes.
Another minute? 2 minutes?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I'll end on this little nugget of joy because this is all new stuff. So so in January of this year, me and my fiance broke up. We had been together for 9 years. Yeah, I heard somebody go, yeah, it's been a rock star of a year for me. It's been a really good year. And you know, there's a lot of things that go wrong in relationships, of course, but people are like, you know, maybe what is one big thing that you think you didn't see eye to eye on that made your relationship fail? And I'm like, I think it's the fact that I don't know if I want kids. I just don't know. I don't know if I want kids. Has anybody ever pinched a baby because they didn't want to hold it anymore? I like pinch all of them. Anybody hands me a kid, I'm pinching it. It's crying. I don't know what happened. It wants you. I have this interesting outlook on children, right? Because I think humans are the dumbest form of all the animals that have ever lived on the planet. We give ourselves a lot of credit for pretty much nothing. I mean, we are born and we can't hold our head up for 6 months. 6 months, our head, like, have you ever seen a horse? A horse just comes out of its mom and it's galloping and its neck is strong. If that were different and the horse was just around in the pasture, we look at it and be like, oh, it must be a fresh one. It's got one of those loose necks. We make fun of deer. We make fun of deer all the time. Here in Wisconsin, we drove like 27 minutes to get to my uncle's house. We passed 100 dead deer. Like, deer are stupid. Even in the car, me and my dad are like, how do the deer not pass on this knowledge to their children? Oh yeah, let's keep running towards the zooming sound. Let's keep running towards the things that are killing all of our family, right? Deer is so dumb, but they come out of their mom's body, and even though they can't walk well, they can still do it. They can walk immediately. We can't walk for 2 years. I think if that was the case with deer and they're just low crawling through the forest for the first 2 years of their life, like it wouldn't even be fun to shoot them anymore.
Oh.
Like cows, you know, I grew up here in Wisconsin farming, and cows can immediately come out and feed themselves. And we can't even, my uncle shows me a picture of a baby deer. Thank you. Cows come out and they can immediately feed themselves. They can find their mom's nipple, feed themselves. you try to put a nipple in a baby's mouth, it just like it won't even like it won't even take it. Like I couldn't make a sandwich till I was 9. Okay. I shouldn't even be alive. Every year I usually perform in the island of St. Croix, which is a thing that I created for myself because I want to have a happy comedy life. So I go to St. Croix every year, and there's this part of the island that in the movie Shawshank Redemption was Neo, Mexico. And it's where all the turtles hatch every year. And they don't let humans walk on that part of the beach for 6 months out of every year because the turtles are hatching and they're so volatile. Turtles, out of every 10,000 eggs, 1 might survive. 1. And we think turtles are stupid and they need all the help they can get. But if we were to release 10,000 human babies on any island and make them swim in the water in unison, they wouldn't even make it into the water. All right, you guys, that's my time.
Cheers to Terry.
I'm going to be comparing my newborn son in 10 weeks to a baby horse.
I've been so worried to mention it because I told someone about Michael having a kid before he was telling people. But yeah, Michael's got a baby. So much more new content. He's going to be on his first show after he's born. And you know what? We'll just see how he does.
Yeah.
So, guys, we have one amazing comic left for you. Also, again, please, Comedy Gives Back. I'll be dropping a link one more time if you can donate anything, and it all helps. Our next comic I realize it's my job to be excited about all these comics, but I am so excited about all our comics today. She was a writer for the Jim Jeffrey Show. Her debut album, Alive for a While, is coming out soon. Please give it up for Lisa Curry.
Yeah. I have my note. I just realized I have this note up. I got a puppy recently, so I'm teaching her all these tricks. So that's the tricks I'm teaching her. Hey guys, lower your expectations. First of all, Natasha, I'm so jealous that you have family that you can stay with, because I have family, but they're so far beyond insane. Like, I saw my parents for 4 days after 4 days over Christmas, and then for like a week after I came home, I just cried every day because I was like, I can't. I'm so stressed. Like, all this residual stress built up from like 4 days of Christmas. So I'm super jealous. And if your parents are like looking to adopt, I'm for adoption. Like I'll come, I'll clean, I'll cook, I'll bake your mom a fucking cake. Okay. Your mom heard of cupcakes because those are individually sized. I can't believe she baked a full cake and then threw it away. That's so hysterical. Anyway, yeah, I'm supposed to be on the road right now. Don't mind being at home at all. I've lived in the studio for 7 years now, and it's been nice. I like it. It's cozy. It's all that I need. And now that I am trapped here looking at the same 4 walls over and over again, I'm like, this is not enough room. I need palatial. Before I got my puppy, I had an orchid that I was talking to every day, like sincerely talking to, like, good morning, orchid. How are you? Like, this is rotting my brain. Do you understand? Like, I've personified everything in my house to the point where, like, I'm afraid to fuck in my apartment because I'm like, oh, my friends are watching. Like, it's just my on my table, and I'm like, oh, don't look over here, you know. But now I have a puppy that I got 3 weeks ago, and she's really great. I don't know. Well, you guys could only see. I think only the comics could see me before this, but I kept like looking around because I had to make sure she's not just like eating trash. Not that my house is like full of trash, but you know, I made sure that she wasn't eating anything wild. And now that there's like a living thing with eyeballs in my house, it's nice to have like a witness to my mental descent, you know. But wow, I used to also like make fun of people that have like service animals that are obviously bullshit. I'm like, that's such a ridiculous thing. Like, I can't believe somebody has a service animal, an emotional support animal. And now that we're under quarantine and this is all I'm talking to all day, I'm like, oh yeah, this is legitimately an emotional support animal. This is my therapist now. Like, this is, she should have her doctorate for taking care of my mental health. I mean, honestly. It's the poor thing. I mean, I talk to her in full sentences all day, like she could possibly understand it. And I'm teaching her tricks that make no sense, like in real life. Like all my friends are like, ooh, teach her to play dead. And I'm like, I taught her to close the door. So much time on my hands. It's also like, for past me that was upset about people taking advantage of the loophole with the emotional support animal, it's like there's tax loopholes that allow people to become trillionaires. Like, who gives a It's a little fake piece of paper that says my dog can save my life. It doesn't, none of this matters. It's all the most bullshit things. Like, there's way bigger and more stupid loopholes in the country than me having a dog in my apartment illegally. Who cares? Oh man, I desperately need a haircut. I mean, I don't know if you guys see, this is a disaster. This is just, I at this point I want to shave my head, and I'm pretty upset. My boyfriend, I think, is tuning in, but I offered to him to trim his beard, and he said absolutely not. I'm just disappointed that he won't let me ruin his life. I'm like, what is this? That's the whole point of a relationship, right? Like, I'm supposed to destroy a part of you. Like, if you're not your beard and ruin it, I don't know what we're doing here. What the fuck? I also think, like, I mean, all this time is making me realize, like, seeing how friends are dealing with this and family, I'm like, oh, America's not prepared for this at all, which is funny because, like, we're such a gun obsessed country, and, you know, there's so many, like, doomsday preppers, and it's like, now we have a crisis on our hands now, and no one is prepared for it. Like, I'm drunk and making soup on Instagram, and I don't know what as Americans, we have no skills. Like, I was in Girl Scouts that I'm like, I don't even have popsicle sticks. So the things that I learned are fucking useless because all I know how to do is glue popsicle sticks together. That's it. You know? The only people who might be doing well right now are maybe people that made it up to Eagle Scouts or whatever was the highest. Like, at least make a fire. It is funny to me too that we are such a gun obsessed country, but we're not. That doesn't translate into us having real world knowledge. Like, in fourth graders in Russia, in public school in Russia, they learn how to assemble an AK-47 and throw a grenade.
Yeah.
And I'm like, those are skills. It's really fucking intense. And that's really dark, but those are like real world skills. Like, what were we all doing in fourth grade? Playing the recorder? Learning the internet? What the fuck? We're going to use those in no scenario. Maybe like pull out my recorder and like lull my puppy to sleep. There's no, I'm like, if we're going to be a gun obsessed country, it should fall all the way down the line. Like, I should have some kind of battle skills, and I don't. I can't even do a rap battle or a battle, let alone like hand-to-hand combat. I don't know fucking anything. I know a few ballet moves. That's it. That's not doing me any good right now. If somebody breaks into my house, my puppy will lick their face. That's where we're at. Also, like, I'm very lucky. I just got health insurance, which was a surprise. I didn't expect it because I got it from Jim Jeffrey's show and I didn't think I had qualified. But I think it's hilarious. Like, whenever the right fights back against like universal health care, their big thing is they're always like, you know, but you got to be able to choose your doctor. People want to choose their healthcare provider and they want to choose their insurance company. I'm like, It's not the fucking NBA draft, guys. I found my dentist on Yelp. It's not that big of a deal. I was like, oh, sounds good. Okay, great. But I don't, all of my friends just find doctors from posting on Facebook. Who is a doctor they like? That's it. It's not a big. If you were like, hey, you can't go to that dentist, I'd be like, okay, who's the second best dentist then? Like, drill into my teeth and not into the side of my head. It's pretty basic. I think that's the end of it. I'll wrap it up on this. Before
You got a minute.
before we went into quarantine, I was working on this new bit. It's not worked out. I was working on this new bit about climate change, and I was saying, my whole thing was, I think climate change is good. I think it's good because it's going to kill us all, and then the earth is going to replenish itself, and it'll be best case scenario. Like, humans will be gone and the earth will be thriving again. And then quarantine hit and all these people started dying and all these animals started taking over towns again, and I was like, oh no, I didn't mean now, I meant like in 100 years. Like, this is way too fucking soon. Like, we don't, hold on a second, don't kill us all, wait till I'm dead and then start killing people, you know, like, I don't, it's on me now. That's it for me. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Lisa Curry. Thank you to all of our comics. Once again, comedygivesback.com. The link is in the chat if y'all need it. To all our fantastic comics, my two co-producers, Nash and Michael, thank you all for being here. Show is going to be May 30th, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Please tune if you can. Thank you all for watching. I hope y'all are hanging in there, staying safe, and we will see you soon. Good night.